if I told you that you can actually increase your productivity and performance levels through living in sync with your cycle? Would you be interested? What's up, friends, and welcome back to another episode. In case you're new here and you've never seen my face, my name is Barry. I'm a menstrual health educator, the creator of Optimize Your Flow, and basically your period loving bestie. Today, I want to talk to you about working in sync with your cycle, because honestly, this is the biggest game changer I have ever come across. So one of the things I want to go ahead and say is, one, this may not work for you and your lifestyle, and that's okay. If it doesn't work for you, that's totally fine. Take what you need, leave what you don't. Number two, for those of you who like to do fact checking, make sure you head to that description box, baby, and check out those articles because they are phenomenal. And number three, this is one of those things that you add into your life once you've mastered the basics of cycle syncing, okay? So first we got to standardize. Then we optimize. And this is what I like to call really optimizing your flow, because now we're looking at your menstrual cycle as a blueprint beyond just your biology, right? Beyond just your body and like maybe your health and wellness, but really how it flows into your life. So with that being said, what we need to do is first and foremost talk about the menstrual cycle as a blueprint. So we're going to start with a strong foundation of that. And then from there, we're going to talk about how to utilize this specifically for business, or as I like to call it, brilliant, because not everybody runs a business. Not everybody is a working professional, right? So, maybe you are a family manager, maybe you are a stay-at-home mom, aka family manager, or perhaps you are a student. I want to share with you some of the things that can really, really help you take your brilliance to the next level. But before I do so, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because I would love to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. So that being said, let's get it. So first and foremost, your menstrual cycle has 4 phases, okay? The first phase of your cycle is called menstruation. This is when you are on your period. That's it, okay? This is when the uterine lining is shedding from the body, and with this, your energy levels are usually lower and your hormone levels, specific hormone levels, are somewhat in this off position, right? Post this phase, so post-menstruation, so menstruation should happen anywhere from 3 to 7 days max. Anything more or less than that is, considered abnormal, and you'd want to speak with your doctor. However, post-menstruation, pre-ovulation, we have the second phase of your cycle called the follicular phase. During the follicular phase of your cycle, your actual hormone levels are beginning to rise and the follicle is being stimulated to be released. It's maturing, right? Getting ready to actually help this egg be released from the ovary, okay? During this time, I love to tell people you really, really want to focus in on reconnecting with the external world and just kind of saying, okay, like I feel like this today, or, I'm not feeling that today, but really checking in with yourself and preparing to be more external facing. Ovulation, the main event of the menstrual cycle, yes, is that fertile window, baby. This is when the egg is released from the ovary, okay? And this is the time where there's actually a bit of a surge in your hormone levels. So just towards the end of that follicular phase and right before ovulation, there's a little bit of a spike in your estrogen, testosterone, and another hormone called the luteinizing hormone. Now, during this time, the reason this is considered the fertile time is because this is when the egg is released from the ovary. However, I do want to preface this, that about 5 to 7 days prior to ovulation, you do want to really express caution when you are doing adult activities that unfortunately I cannot say because of, censorship. So with that being said, you want to be really, really mindful that, sperm can live in the uterus for up to 5 days and in the fallopian tubes for up to 7 days. So therefore, you want to make sure you're expressing a lot or exercising a lot of caution, okay? Now, ovulation, once it's done, because it happens for 16 to 32 hours max per some research, you definitely are going to roll into that luteal phase, also known as PMS. Now, what I want to preface about your luteal phase is that during the luteal phase, there are two segments of it. It's your early luteal and your late luteal. Your early luteal phase, you'll generally still feel like you're ovulating. Your energy's still going to be really great. However, there's a switch in hormone levels. So your estrogen levels actually begin to dip a bit and your progesterone levels should increase. However, if you're somebody who is high stress or high anxiety, you might experience things feeling a lot different. Generally, you should feel calm during this phase, but most people feel a little testy. And here's why. Some research shares that when estrogen levels actually dip off, okay, there's also a drop in your serotonin. When there's this drop in your serotonin, that can make you a little bit irritable. Maybe you're, dealing with imposter syndrome, maybe second guessing who you are, your worth, your value, and so on and so forth. So it's really, really important to know that although this change is happening, right, you can kind of get out in front of it. That's the early luteal. That late luteal phase, that's when the sass comes out. During your late luteal phase, your energy levels, because your hormone levels are a bit lower, your energy levels may be a little bit lower, and that's okay. But that is what's happening. So we've talked about phase 1 of the cycle, which is menstruation, phase 2, which is follicular, phase 3, ovulation, phase 4, your luteal phase. Now that's the basics of the biology. And I know you might be thinking, where are you going with this? I was trying to work better. And if you're thinking that, here you go. So research shares that during your menstrual phase, so when you're in your period, there's actually 25% more connectivity between the right and left hemispheres of your brain. So this is the perfect time for any type of ideation related things, okay? This is a time for really big vision, big picture thinking. This is the time where you're thinking perhaps, what goals you want to set, maybe what mission you have, different things like that. And it doesn't matter if this is a high level or macro thing or a more micro thing. So maybe you're thinking about what it is you want to do in the next 5 to 10 years, okay? Really doing vision casting during that menstrual phase is phenomenal. Or maybe you're like, no, sis, I'm just trying to get through the next 30 days. I feel you. I get that. So make sure you're really kind of clarifying that vision because ideation is prime during this time. During the second phase of your cycle, research shares that there's more activity between the hippocampus and the amygdala, which are parts of your brain really known for helping you connect with that external world and with other people. So I say this is kind of that creation strategic planning time. This is that time where we're going to bring the vision to life. This is a time where we're going to wow people. We're going to say to people like, okay, so this is the goal. All right, no problem. Do. This is when you're kind of linear, right? And you're not as limbic, but you do have the limbic capacity because of the hippocampus and amygdala activities being a little bit higher, right? So with that being said, let's roll into ovulation and what should happen during ovulation. During ovulation, this is where we're going to execute. This is when we're taking the strategic plan and we're taking the action on doing it. Because there's this surge in certain hormone levels, it's really important that you go ahead and capitalize on that. So let's say, for instance, you own your own business and you want to do a grand opening party. Try to plan that grand opening party when you're ovulating, or the grand opening happens during ovulation. Details of the planning should happen during the follicular phase. And the idea and concepting of that grand opening party is going to happen during menstruation, right? That's what we're going to be doing. Ovulation is this incredible time to really just maximize your performance and get everything done. Ovulation only happens for a short window, but again, we want to capitalize on it. So if you feel like you want to go out there and get things done when you're in that follicular phase, you freaking go, Glen Coco. Maybe you're like, I'm done ovulating, and sis, I know I'm done ovulating because I checked my basal body temperature, I've checked my cervix placement and my cervical mucus, and like it's all, it's good. I've ovulated. Then what you'll want to do is still trickle some of that energy into that luteal phase, right? Now, here's what your brain is doing, okay? So now the activity levels of the hippocampus and the amygdala are at their most capacity I guess that's the best way. highest capacity, highest activity levels. Now, once ovulation is done, your brain and that hippocampus and amygdala, they actually begin to shrink the activity down. There's a decrease in that activity once ovulation has happened. Well, in addition to this, your prefrontal cortex, the activity size of that begins to shift a little bit, okay? Which takes us into the last and final phase of your cycle, which is the luteal phase, right? So menstruation, we've done ideation. Follicular, we've done creation. Ovulation, we've done execution, and a little bit of that early luteal phase. And then in that late luteal phase, we are seriously just going to evaluate. Here's why. The brain is said to switch from being very allocentric and focused on the external world to being extremely egocentric and focused on the internal world. You're done focusing on everybody else. Do less, God bless. Start focusing on you and what it is you need. So to maximize this as much as possible professionally, I always say, look for the holes in whatever it is you do, rather than looking for problems in your personal life. Okay, don't do that. Okay, look for them in your professional life. Look for room for improvement. Maybe you sit yourself down and do your own performance review. How did I show up for myself throughout the cycle? How did I show up, in terms of my business and my desires and my dreams? How did I show up as an employee, if you are one? Different things like that. This is really going to help you optimize your flow, right? So just to recap, menstruation, ideation, follicular is creation, and then we have your ovulatory phase, which is execution, that luteal phase, which is evaluation. Now, if you want to know how to strategically plan specific things in sync with your cycle, I highly recommend that one, you come hang out with me on TikTok, because I have a crash course video where I'm teaching exactly this. Tell me what your profession is down below, and I will do my best to give you some hot tips. As always, I'm sending you big love and flowy vibes, and I'll talk to you soon.